Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sunday night's edition of the Final Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Turbo CEO. Tonight, we have a great show for you. We're going to dive into a subject that's near and dear to my heart, like all my subjects. Tonight, we're going to be talking about autonomous robotics. And we're going to do a deep dive on autonomous robotics and AI. But before we get into that, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. To my smarts out there, I love you guys. I appreciate you and all of your support. Yeah, like I did that. We got a great show tonight. I'm super excited. So I was just watching the trailer for the new Tron movie called Ares. Of course, I'm an Aries, but that's besides the point. The point is this: it's going to be a great film, and it begs the question: what happens when you mix the digital world with the real world? We see it today, but we see it in minute microscopic pieces. It's a gradual growth thing. And that's what we're going to be talking about. But before we get into it, my admin notes. Listen, please go out, like, share, subscribe, and send stars. We appreciate all the support. To my smarts, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please continue to send us emails and give us feedback to whatever show episode that you're watching. When you send an email, make sure you frame it and have the email framed in accordance to whatever episode you're referring to. Whatever episode you're referring to, we greatly appreciate it. If you're just now tuning in and you've never seen my show before, I like to do before we get started what I like to call brass tacks. The brass tacks is a quote I pull that encapsulates the episode of the evening in totality. And tonight's brass tacks comes from Kristen Anderson. Kristen Anderson. The robots are coming, whether we like it or not, and will change our economy in dramatic ways. Kristen Anderson, everyone. Kristen Anderson. That's our brass task for tonight. We've all seen all the sci-fi movies, the RoboCops, the iRobot, the AI, the Star Trek, Star Wars, and we've become very familiar and synonymous with various autonomous robots that are in these shows and movies. We've become very fond of them. So much so that they've become cultural namesakes. Cultural namesakes. Names like Tweety, 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 Tweety. Y'all remember Tweety? For those who were in a certain age bracket, I know who you are. Yeah, we watched Buck Rogers, right? You have Tweety, you have C3PO, you have RTD2. Yeah, BB-8 recently BB-8. have a little BB-8 around here somewhere. And sometimes he has a autonomous function where he just does what he wants. Crazy little thing. And my cat hates it. So I don't like turning them on because my cat is crazy about it. But then you have your Rumbas, your iRobot, your little shark vacuum cleaners, right? Your little sweepers. Here recently, oh, how can I forget? Robocop, Terminator, and the list goes on and on. How can we forget those movies and the cultural effect visually and mentally, mental stimulation that those particular movies have played on our conscious and subconscious? We have today Elon Musk. He's dropping his Optimus robot very soon. General Dynamics has been working on a some form of humanoid robot for the last couple of years. We've seen those videos. Boston Dynamics, I'm sorry. Boston Dynamics, not General Dynamics. I apologize for that. And there's quite a few out there. I did a quick search and dive on upcoming robotic companies for humanoid robots. Humanoid robotics are going to be everywhere. But the question is, are we truly ready? Are we truly ready as a society? Do we think that bringing in robotics will solve world problems? I'm quite sure that some will, but it always begs to answer the question of who's writing the programming and the ethics behind these uh, autonomous robots. Who's going to give it and write the programs for it to be a free thinker, right? Who's going to be the father of those machines? We see in a lot of movies that that always seems to be a problem with that. We saw it in the movie AI, Artificial Intelligence, it was Steven Spielberg movie. We've seen it in the same thing in iRobot. You know, a lot of these new, well, I'll call them streamers, online celebrities, such as, uh, well, I don't want to diminish her her celebrity. She's done a lot, and she's worth a lot. But you've seen her with her own personal humanoid robot, Kim K. iShow has recently been seen with a humanoid robot. So has Kai Cenat. It's very interesting that I would like to have conversations with those guys and sit down and talk to them to get their thoughts and feelings on um, their relationships that they're fostering with their particular humanoid robot. And what are we going to be calling these things? You know, that's a question. That's a question. All these things we're going to be discussing tonight. And this topic is equal parts exciting and terrifying. It really is. When you think about it, how many different applications can be applied to a humanoid robot? If you could think it, quite sure we can make it happen. You know, drones started out as toys. Now drones can be weapons of mass destruction. It happens. Sorry, man. I'm so sorry for laughing, but I'm just being real. But autonomous humanoid robots, Are we really ready? Are we really ready? Smarts, are you ready out there? Are we really ready for this? Are we ready for the societal implications? Let's dive in, man. Let's talk about it. First, let's define the terms. What exactly constitutes an autonomous humanoid robot? We're talking about robots that resemble humans in form and operate independently, making decisions without direct human control. Give me a second. Let me get the volume on that one. Cool. I mentioned earlier about your Rumble and your iShark and your little vacuum cleaners. This, not that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual humanoid robotics that has the possibility of being a free thinker, which means that it can think freely, has human like movement and physical capabilities like locomotion, manipulation. Boston Dynamics and a company called Atlas, they've been working on different formats that can be applied from a robotic dog to a humanoid, and the list goes on. Go check their website out. Those guys are amazing. They're doing some really great things when it comes to robotics. But what type of applications can be applied to that stuff, man? You know, what's stopping? I don't want to get into the dark. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into the dark. I'm always taking it to the dark, but I don't want to take it to the dark. I want to keep the applications for the good of humanity. But it's not, but like like yin and yang, it's always a flip. It's a light and a dark. It can be good for humanity, and then the application can also be bad for humanity. But that's with everything. So those two companies that I just mentioned, Boston Dynamics and Atlas, their robots demonstrate impressive locomotion and manipulation, showcasing advancements in dynamic balance and object interaction. Now, they're still having some trouble with decision making process, but once AI is fully ingrained into these robotics, man, the applications will be unheard of. We're talking human level sensory and possessing human level intelligence, or even more. Depends on who's doing the programming and who's writing the code. Even if the technology is ready, right? It's a lot of red tape, politics, things of that nature. Are we as a society, is society ready for autonomous humanoid robots? What are some of the social implications? I think about this a lot. I just did a paper this weekend And this is part of the reason why I brought this conversation up. I just did a paper this weekend on AI innovation. Uh yeah. I just did a paper on AI innovation, man, and the different applications that can be applied. It's just ridiculous. It's nothing. Whatever you were dreaming of, it's that and 10 times more, or 100 times more even. Okay, I'm getting some calls in, but you know, everybody's afraid of drop job displacement, and it's true. AI and robots will replace a lot of jobs. We're not going to go down the list, but there's a list I posted out there a few weeks ago from the World Economic Forum. There was a long list of jobs that AI and autonomous robots will be replacing. So that begs the question: what are humans going to do? What are humans going to do? What are we going to do? I can't call you. I'm doing. I'm doing my show. Wait, hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, go check out the World Economic Forum report. Sometimes my people calling me if visually uh or a sound. I got people checking out on that. So I appreciate the information and the updates. Okay, cool. Got it. Got it. There are estimates that 10 million jobs could be displaced by automation. And this is from the World Economic Forum. 10 million jobs. This raises concerns about economic inequality and the need for robust social safety nets. We talk about that now, and the robots haven't even hit yet. And we're having this conversation right now about robust social safety nets. I think I think that whatever I think the political parties in the next election, I think that's going to be a big conversation. Uh you heard it here first. Robust social safety nets. I think that's going to be a big topic. You have to ask also, how can we mitigate the potential negative social impacts of widespread robot adoption? How? Investing in education and training programs to prepare workers for the changing job market. There could be government initiatives or in the commercial sector, different training programs. Those things need to be getting rolled out like right now. Elon Musk is talking about deploying his Optimus robot next year. I haven't heard anything about any social programs or implementing any AI or autonomous robot programs that getting society ready for this. I might be wrong, but I've done a little bit of research, but I haven't heard anything. What's out there? And what policies? What policies are politicians pushing? I haven't heard any policies either. I mean, It's around the corner. Sci-fi is here, and we need those policies. Make sure these policies can ensure equitable access to the benefits of these technological advancements. These think tanks need to come together, and they also need to be working on uh, policy recommendations and get the academic institutions involved as well. You hear a lot of conversation about a UBI or a high UBI, which is a universal basic income. You hear about that. There's conversations about that. You know, how will people be able to sustain their lifestyle if robots and artificial intelligence has taken all the jobs? What are you going to do for the people? There are different proposals out there. You hear a lot of conversations about UBI. You hear a lot of conversations about UBI. I'm interested in what these these tech conferences are going to be talking about in the next couple of months. I'm going to be tuned in for that so they can see if anybody's out there addressing the possible job displacement that's going to be caused by automation. But it's feasible. It's feasible and effective for a substantial debate and to make all this work out together, in harmony. It doesn't have to cause the huge displacements that I'm speaking of. If properly planned, it can be an harmonious exchange, right? If you know the robots are coming in and the automation is and robots are going to be replacing the workforce, there needs to be an harmonious exchange. But the way the current gov is slicing people's employment with no plan, maybe that's just the beginning of things to come. Maybe they're just getting us ready. Maybe they're just getting us ready. What are the biggest technological hurdles that need to be overcome before autonomous humanoid robots become commonplace? Ask yourself that question. Drop some answers in the chat. Drop some answers in the chat, man. I want to hear what you guys got to say about that. I'm going to repeat the question again. What are the biggest technological hurdles that need to be overcome before autonomous humanoid robots become commonplace? If I'm thinking about it, I know y'all should be thinking about it. You should be thinking about these things. All right. Are they going to be improving battery technology? That's one that's you don't hear about. Battery technology. Is it going to be clean energy? How about enhancing dexterity and manipulation capabilities? Exactly. That's a great point. See, that's what I'm talking about. Somebody just pointed out. Will that create enough jobs for everyone who will be displaced? That's a great suggestion. As we develop more sophisticated AI systems that are capable of handling unsuspected situations, we need to be doing research on robust AI and AI safety. and AI ethics. Ethics is always a big thing. Ethics is always a big thing. We have to ensure safety and reliability first. Safety and reliability first, where these robots can't hurt or harm humans or life forms for that living life forms for that matter. But right now, you can pick your cell phone up and it can die after being charged. It happens. So one of the main things that they need to work on is the current battery technology is limited. Operational time of a humanoid robot and hindering their practical application in many scenarios may need an extended battery life. And that technology, to my understanding, isn't readily available. So, advancements in solid state batteries and other energy storage solutions are going to be crucial. Sounds like job opportunities to me. Let's explore those options. What role will government funding and private investment play in accelerating the development of autonomous humanoid robots? It's going to be very important for the government to play a role in funding. Hugely important. Private investment groups and commercial companies, they're going to play a huge part as well, especially with the accelerating development of autonomous humanoid robots as the rollout comes out, as the updates come about, as their firewalls and all these things that are going to be needed. These sound like jobs to me. So if you're looking for a new you're looking for something that sounds like job security, robotics and AI may be the move for you. May be the move for you. There's big companies that are playing a major role in significant investments from companies like Google, Amazon. Amazon is working on rolling out a platform where their drones are delivering your packages. You're going to be seeing more drones in the air. Tesla, they have their Optimus robot that's coming out. And like I mentioned, Boston Dynamics and Atlas, they have a few platforms of humanoid robots that are going to be on full display in the next year or two. And from rollout full display into the public. So get ready. It's coming. There's a huge commitment for this. It's huge commitment for humanoid robots and autonomy. Um, you ask yourself how quickly do we think we see these advancements? Man, I give it 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year. The potential is high. The exponential growth in AI capabilities and the possibility of unforeseen breakthroughs is amazing. Look at we just started talking about AI on our cell phones a few months ago. Look where it's at now. Look at the conversations that we're having right now about AI versus when AI first dropped in the chat GPT. Now we have like this super chat. And now they're scientists have developed these quantum processors And I'm not that's for a whole nother conversation. That's for a whole nother conversation. But expert opinions and predictions from reputable sources state that a real time frame is less than 10 years. That's a great question. What someone in the chat just asked, what do you feel the cost of one may be? I think it's going to vary. But like all things, uh when the technology is presented to the public, it comes out expensive. And then once it gravitates to everyone, or it's it's not as it's not as new or hot technology anymore, it becomes the norm, prices decline. We see it all the time, from the large screen TVs to the cell phones. Um, Once more people are purchasing, or it becomes the norm, the price drops significantly. Early on, it's probably going to be expensive, but in a year, I say so. Let's give an example. So, I think the one that Kim K says she has cost around 30K, 30K out the box. Don't quote me on that. But give it a year or two, or when it becomes a norm to the public, we may be talking anywhere between 5 and 10 grand. You have TVs that cost that much. So people are paying almost $2,000 for cell phones. So I'm sure that the price is going to decrease uh, once the technology is out there and readily available. But we haven't talked about what are the existential risks and concerns, existential risks and concerns, and ethical dilemma. It's always about ethics, man. Always about ethics. It's a big one. The existential risk. How do we ensure that advanced AI systems remain aligned with human values and don't pose a threat to humanity? That's the big question. How? How do we know? Right? We are already complaining that all of our tech is spying on us. That conversation is happening right now, from the TVs to your computers to your laptops. People are getting in front of that, that topic, you know. But how do we ensure that these things are aligned with thinking human first, safety first? There's a company that's doing good work out there leading AI safety, and that company is called Future of Life Institute, emphasizing the need for careful planning and safety measures to ensure that AI remains beneficial to humanity and not humanity beneficial to AI. Yeah, I said that. That's crazy. But it's always the ethics. It always goes back to the ethics. What are the safeguards and regulations? And who's writing what to prevent the misuse of autonomous humanoid robots? There needs to be a global cooperation, not just national level. It needs to be a global level cooperation. and robust regulatory frameworks to prevent the misuse of this technology, particularly, and like I said before, you have the light and the dark, particularly in military applications. Here we go. Scary stuff. Military applications and surveillance. That's the scary stuff. The importance of ethical guidelines and principles in the development and deployment of these AI systems are critical, crucial. It's not something that it has to happen. Has to happen. The development of international treaties and agreements to regulate these systems is so critical to prevent unintended consequences. I'm telling you now, whatever they're working on, it's going to have some type of robust infrastructure on these AI frameworks. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping with the hope factor that these things remain in good ethics and good programming. But there's a lot of ethical concerns out there. I have them, you have them, everyone has them. Everything from job displacement, misuse, bias. That's a lot. Algorithmic bias in AI systems can perpetuate and amplify existing societal inequalities, raising concerns about fairness and justice. That could be a huge problem. Nobody wants to see a racist robot. That sounds crazy, but hey, I'm, it can happen. It can happen. I'm laughing, but I'm really not laughing. But I really am laughing. The potential for job displacement, as I've been speaking out through the whole chat, the whole podcast, man, requires proactive measures to ensure a just transition. You know, we we would like we would like for these things to be a smooth transition, but right now we're seeing otherwise. How many people are just being let go of their careers? You know, it was at one point that the government was a safe place to work. Not anymore. Not anymore. What role should public education and engagement play in preparing society for the arrival of autonomous humanoid robots? What role should these things play? It's very important for public education and engagement to help foster these ideas and have discussions on ethics, social, and economic implications for uh, autonomous robots and AI. We need to be having those conversations right now. Some of the social concerns that we have need to be put aside because this is going to change society as a whole. We need to be having more of these conversations. We need more transparency when it comes to these conversations. You know, I know a lot of people are going to be like asking the question of how does it work? We're getting to a point of singularity where we're not understanding how certain technologies work. And this is a conversation that we need to be having. We're going to need transparency when it comes to this high level technology and the implications that it will have on society. These are conversations that these politicians need to be grasping and talking about for the next election. There needs to be public participation. We can help shape the future of robotics because, from the way I see it, it's going to be force fed down our throats anyway. We need to be able to participate in shaping the future of robotics in this country and globally. We can start with public forums, educational initiatives, open discussions, and fostering public understanding and shaping. And all these things can help shape AI development and engagement. Yes, you're yes, correct. Those people right out of yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, from having those conversations to help fostering these ideas and implementing those ideas to help bring aboard the development of these AI and robotic autonomous systems, we still have to talk about energy. We still have to talk about the limitations in battery life, dexterity, navigation. How much AI robustness will these autonomous robots have? I believe that the current battery technology significantly limits operational time, which can affect their practical applications. How can we assure that the development and deployment align with human values and benefit society as a whole? These ethical frameworks, regulations, and international cooperation and guiding the development and use of this technology, the development of ethical guidelines and principles for AI development and deployment is crucial. I've been saying that the entire podcast. I've been saying that the entire time. These things are crucial. You know, it looks they look real cool in the movies on TV, but what goes on behind the scenes is the unseen. I made a post this morning about we have known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. Now, break that down. That's for my smarts. Break that riddle down because it's getting to a point where we're not we see the technology, we use the technology, but We don't know how the technology works. How's it able to do what it's doing? Right? How can you program a machine to think freely and learn? There are companies out there that are creating learning machines. Yeah. I just saw an article. I can't remember exactly where it was, but part of I I stumbled on it while I was doing my research on for the paper I just wrote. But that's something. Robots having the ability to be free thinkers and learn, but not only that, to build themselves, to make themselves better. That sounds like Ultron. I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. But I am laughing. Robots making themselves to and perfecting themselves. This is this is nothing to be frank about. And I'm not trying to scare anyone either, but this is this is the world we're living in right now. Autonomous humanoid robots. They're going to be walking around just like you and I. They're going to be driving cars, flying planes, possibly being law enforcement. Quite sure there's military applications. In any job you think we can do, they can do. And not only will they be able to do it, they'll be able to do it 1,000 times better with the integration of AI. And then from there, you have to think about it as these programs start communicating with one another like a hive collective, right? The precision, the, the ability to be almost perfect and efficient. We're going to work out the battery part. We're going to work that part out. We're going to work out the AI part. But once it comes together, man, that's going to be a scary sight. And it's coming. And it is definitely coming. We talked about the legal and regulatory frameworks that will have to be embedded. What are they going to be? What are going to be some of the countermeasures? And what are we going to do about if it can make itself, program itself? What are we going to be putting in place so it can't overwrite our safety uh, frameworks that we embed? How are we going to stop it from doing that? 2 years ago, they put together two AI robots and they started having a conversation with one another to the point where they developed their own language. Uh, they're a language that we're not familiar with, some robotic language that they came up with, and they were able to communicate with each other in that robotic language. Those devices had to be turned off. Can you imagine? We weren't ready for that, but somebody thought it was a great idea to do, and that was the outcome. We be a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome first, but like anything, The cars today were not the cars that were made when Henry Ford started making cars. Think about that. When the Wright brothers flew the first plane, I did air quotes because there's some information coming out in reference to that. But from the first plane to what we have today, rockets, space shuttle, satellites, jets breaking the sound barrier and going Mach 4 Mach 5. Those didn't happen on the first iteration. It took time, experience for those things to come about. And I'm quite sure that your country roll money. Oh, I love you too, bro. Appreciate you. Um, I'm reading from different multiple screens. So yeah, but these are some of the things that we have to be thinking about, man, because like it or not, this isn't going away. It's happening and it's happening now. And the rollout is real. They will be forced down our throats. We will have to adapt and adjust. Let's prepare before these things happen. Let's prepare now. We have to stop being firefighters in society and start being proactive. That's something we used to say at work. We're all firefighters. That's because we weren't proactive. We were always actively engaging in whatever the task at hand was instead of being proactive about it. Would I own one? That's a great question. That is a great question. Hmm. Would I own one? Probably not right now, but as I get older, I can see it. And the reason why I say when I get older, as I get older, health declines, your ability to do physical tasks decline, um, a lot of different mundane tasks that require a certain level of physicality. As you get older, those things decline. Um, Having a robotic assistant to be able to do those things later on, I I definitely really probably will end up with one later on in life. But right now, no, I wouldn't get one now. By the time I get one, it'd probably be in the 10th generation. Yeah, I'm gonna pull a Will Smith on this one, like the iRobot. I'm gonna stay old school until I can't stay old school no more. Yeah, you know. But there are a lot of reference materials out there that you can go out there and research. There are a lot of different scholarly papers that are being written. Um, a lot of sites, Boston Dynamics, Atlas Robotics. There's plenty of information out there that you can go out there and do your own research on. Um, there are publications from the Association of the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. That's AAAI. They have a lot of information available. The Institute of Electrical, the IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. That's another one you can grab information in reference to this topic. Um, and Future Life Institute. includes specific journals and articles and books relevant to um, tonight's topic. As always, stay balanced, stay equal, stay smart. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the show. Just giving you some things to think about. And you probably wonder, like, where did this come from? I'm telling you, I just wrote a paper and turned it in today. Innovation of AI. That was for school. And I've been seeing the Tron trailer, Aries Tron, the Tron trailer. Tron's one of my favorite all-time movies from childhood to they, you know, they revamped it, and it's a continuation, and it's the technology meets the theme, and it's crazy. I saw the trailer. I was like, man, this trailer is crazy. I'm really going to enjoy that movie. I know for a fact that I'm going to enjoy it. But it gave me the thought, man, what are we going to do when the digital world and reality collides? Now the digital is tangible, and it's tangible now, but not the way we're seeing it. Sci-fi is really here, and it's going to be interesting how society responds to it. So keep your eyes and ears open for it. That's our show. That is our show. I'm Turbo, the CEO. I'm the final boss. And this is the Final Boss Podcast. I like playing with this is my real voice, but there's a voice change right here where I could do like this uncle thing on here. That's really crazy. But it goes through like before I can get to the uncle thing, it goes from like a a female's voice to a baby's voice. Look, I'm gonna just play with it.
That's our show for tonight.
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 That's our show for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. On Tuesday. This Tuesday, the Sensei and I will be diving into the conversation of population collapse, low birthing, population collapse, and low birthing. That's going to be a doozy. And then Thursday, got a very special guest. Very special guest. I'm going to drop her video in a day or two. Very special guest for this coming Thursday. We're going to close out the conversation on family this Thursday with our special guest. Their promo video will be going up soon. I think I'm gonna drop it tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably drop it tomorrow. So look out for that. And I wish and love each and every last one of you. Continue to like, share, subscribe, send us some stars, send us some emails, give us some feedback at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. Grab you some merch. The merch is available. Go grab some merch at www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. One word, that's the merch site. That's our show. I really enjoyed it. Give you something to think about, man. Give you something to think about. That's what we're here. We're here to think and have the difficult conversations. Y'all have a good one. See you soon.